Coach Jimmy Rogers, welcome to KREM 2. Thanks for joining us. But the reason you're here, obviously, is this Washington Blitz that you and your coaching staff have been on over the last week or so. What's it been like now recruiting in your new home state and seeing all the schools and the talent that we have to offer in Washington?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been good to get out. We're kind of spread out all across the state right now and just connecting with new coaches that are new to us, obviously, but also just, evaluating the players and getting to know them a little bit and being able to sit with them at the schools and talk to them about Washington State. And it's been exciting for sure. There's a lot of talent here.
What's kind of the message, with a new program, you're trying to instill what you're bringing from South Dakota State, but also there's still a lot of talent there. There's a lot of things about Washington State that make it so great. What's the message to these kids right now about what you're trying to build there?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is, for one, just develop a relationship to figure out who they are and what they're looking for and making sure that is a fit and understanding, are they going to fit in Pullman, Washington? Because it isn't for everybody. But those that choose to be a part of it, I do think it could be special. But obviously trying to build a championship culture, and that starts with relationships of them getting to know us and trusting us. But obviously it's got to be the right fit for them as an individual and academically. So it's been good to watch these guys compete a little bit. It's also been really great to see their background and their makeup of who they are.
And as you've come in to Washington State now and you've gotten to know the guys that are there, you've brought some guys with you as you're starting to get your team together. What has it been like kind of learning them as you're going to have to sell yourself, your coaching staff to those guys as well?
It's really what we've done this whole month of January. It's kind of why we're a little bit later in the recruiting process this last week, getting out while we still can. We've been pretty much every single day spending all of our day with the players, being around them for every workout that we could be around, and then inviting them up. I've met with every player on the team at length and trying to figure out what's important to them and get to know them a little bit as far as their background and what's important, and tying those two things together as far as creating a team that's connected. So we'll continue to push on through those things through February as far as connecting each other as a true team, and I'm excited for March 1st is when we start spring ball.
And what are some of the things you've learned from these guys that you just met for the first time only a month ago?
Well, obviously where they're from, their background, but also just the experience that they've had at Washington State thus far, and the relationships in the community that they feel like Washington State is home to them and they're really connected to the university. But overall, it's making sure that everybody fits together and they understand what we're expecting out of them more so than anything, so that they feel comfortable in their skin to go out and do their job. But it's been exciting. There's a lot of different pieces to a team, and so to say one thing more than the other, I'm not really sure. I've enjoyed just their spirit and how they've kind of handled their business day to day.
And you just put together your coaching staff. It was finalized with Coach Upati coming on fully officially today. Obviously a guy with a ton of NFL experience, played for the Seahawks. What is it like bringing a guy like that in, and how pleased are you with the staff you've been able to assemble, including him and the guys you're bringing from South Dakota State?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a no-brainer for me to bring my staff from South Dakota State. They kind of know what I expect from a schematical standpoint, and nowadays in college athletics with the transfer portal, you got to hit the ground running with the players and developing relationships to have a culture. You can't be so caught up in the X's and O's. So to add a guy like Mike, to add a guy like, E.T., I'm really excited for what they can do from a technical standpoint, but also developing relationships and just who they are, their experience. It kind of speaks for themselves as far as what they can add from a football standpoint. But there is a connection piece and a genuine side to them, an authentic side to them, that I'm excited for our players to get to know them at a deeper level.
And you mentioned the transfer portal. Obviously, today it was announced that the Cougar Collective is now officially a partner with Washington State. How much does having that in place already help you and your guys as you're out here trying to navigate NIL opportunities, and having something like that in today's world of college athletics?
Yeah, to have the support for one is huge. And to have it in-house is even bigger. So the ability to impact a student athlete's life the way the collective can, NIL can, it's pivotal. It's pivotal to have success now with it. So it's a huge part of it. but it's not the only part of it. You got to find the right fit first, and you got to find players that want to come to Washington State for Washington State, not for a transactional opportunity. So I'm excited about the amount of players that we've been able to reach and be able to see live, and it's just really the start for us.
Now, there were comments made by the previous head coach about not being able to retain players late in their careers at Washington State. Does that begin with that culture that you're talking about and building that, and hopefully those guys want to be a part of that regardless of the NIL or money that's out there in college right now?
Well, I think there's an extreme to the NIL for certain players, and so to say that we'll bat 1,000 on the players that we bring in and develop and that they'll all stay. But I do think that the more we can commit to them as individuals and welcome them into our homes and have them be a part of our family and create genuine relationships, I do think that it can be a separator. It just came from a program that was able to do it, and a lot of times it was allowing our players to be themselves and connecting with them on a deeper level than just football and the X's and O's. To speak on what has happened in the past, I won't do that. There's an opportunity for all of us to grow as a football team and as a university, and I'm excited for that.
And you mentioned, this last month or so just being crazy for you. Have you gotten a chance, though, to get out into the community in Pullman and kind of know your way around a little bit? I know you were just over in Seattle meeting some Cougar fans, and what has that process been like for you? Yeah,
it's been great. To say I've been out a lot, I've pretty much been in that building from the moment I wake up to when the sun goes down. So the uniqueness of navigating in the dark at night, overall, I've started to know the land of Pullman a little bit better than the other surrounding areas, but still probably not the best just because my priority has been on the team.
And now as you move towards spring ball, you're bringing in all these guys from South Dakota State with you. When we talked at your introductory press conference, you mentioned, these guys are moving up a level. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them, but you feel like they're ready for it. What about these guys that you've brought with you says that they're ready for something like this and to compete on that Power 4 level?
Yeah, a lot of these guys had this opportunity. They just chose South Dakota State because of the connection which we built. So there's a lot of players that are joining us that had Power 4 interest and had Power 4 scholarships, and they chose to come with us as a coaching staff over those options. So I'm excited for them because a lot of the players from Wilmington that we brought, I know who they are, and I've watched them compete, and I know the spirit of what they're about. And they know who we are in the system in which we run. So they will be challenged this spring, and on both sides. I think some of our players will challenge the team as well.
And as you move towards spring ball, what is kind of the focus right now? Is it, getting Zevi and those guys to learn Coach Freund's playbook? Is it, things of that nature right now? Is it more conditioning and getting ready for spring ball? What's the main focus for your team right now?
Yeah, honestly, there's a couple steps to it. There's the schematical standpoint, and we haven't got so much into that. But there's the verbiage, right? You're learning like a second language when you learn football. But it is getting to know one another. It's spending ample amount of time with one another. It's what we call mental strength sessions with the group and kind of bridging a gap of where they are at now and where we can see them moving forward and kind of blocking the outside noise out and really focusing on the team more than anything else. And that starts with relationships. But yeah, we're training right now. We're already running right now, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, and getting ready for March 1st. That's when we'll start our first practice on Saturday. So excited for that, but there's a lot of work to be done through the month of February, and we're still working through a lot of things.
And as you get into spring ball come March, what would be a successful spring ball for you and your coaching staff? Is there a certain goal you'd like your team to meet at the end of that month?
Yeah, I think for one, establishing who the players are and who we feel like we could have success with moving forward. Our players taking a huge step from a mental side of how we, not only just knowing the scheme, but just how we run practice and the tempo and physicality and how we're going to play with. But I would say the number one thing with every spring ball is that you leave spring ball healthy so you can take the next step in the summer and start that training session there to get closer to where you want to be in the fall. So, yeah, there's incremental jumps throughout the season. Right now it is just training, trying to get bigger and trying to understand the lay of the land of how we're doing things and making sure that we're going into spring, and then in spring it's taking the next jump schematically and feeling good about where we can end mentally after spring ball. So excited for where we really need to start come March 1st, but we'll see where we end in April. Spring game is April 12th on a Saturday. So excited for our guys to be able to compete with one another in hopefully a great environment.
And then, I listened to a recent interview you did, and the two words you used to describe yourself were passionate and intense. I guess, how do you see that kind of correlating, or from your first initial interactions with this team, how have they kind of bought into you as a coach and what you're bringing to the table?
Well, I think it's wishful thinking that people just buy in immediately when they meet you. This is a relationship business. You got to spend ample amount of time with people to understand who you are and the fabric of what you are. And so that's kind of been my focus. They'll feel that when I step on the field and start coaching them, and the intensity that the whole coaching staff coaches with. But a lot of people mention the word love and culture a lot, but I think it's how you do things that really matter, and I think that takes time. It just doesn't happen overnight. So it will be a learning curve for all of us this spring, and I'm excited for that.
And as you move forward again, back to recruiting, why was it so important to begin here in Washington and lay down those roots right away for you and your staff as you kind of start to build your foundation here at Washington State?
Yeah, I just believe in-state recruiting, for one. I think that you have a better shot of retaining players that are playing for their home state. And, now how college football is working, you're traveling all over the country for games. And, for a family to be able to see their son play in the state of Washington for an in-state kid, I think it's really pivotal. This upcoming season we'll kind of be all over the place. But they will get, a certain amount of home games to be able to come up and see Pullman. So I would say developing the relationships with the coaching staffs across the state are extremely important, because you never know which is the next great player that impacts your program. But it's also the players being connected to the university and taking pride in playing for their home state.
And you just mentioned the schedule. Let's take a look at it right here. This is what it looks like this year, Coach, and obviously you've got trip to SEC country. You've got several different conferences here laid out. You obviously begin with the Battle of the Palouse against Idaho, which, is a little long-time rivalry. I guess when you look at something like this with all the travel that's involved, is this something that you're used to? Is this a little different for you guys coming from South Dakota State? And what kind of jumps out when you look at this schedule?
Well, I don't think anybody's used to this type of travel, but I'm excited for the challenge. So is our staff, and I promise you so will the players. But for us right now, it's really just being locked into getting better. We don't play tomorrow and we don't play next week. We got to play here in August, and we're excited for the home opener. We're excited for the Apple Cup here in September, and so we got to come together as a team first before we worry about playing anybody else.
And your conversations with people over on the west side, how often was the Apple Cup brought up? And, I'm sure they've kind of been peppering you about that game.
Apple Cup has been brought up many times, regardless of where I've been. But I'm excited for that. But I'm also just as excited to have the home opener and play Idaho, just the opportunity to, hopefully sell out a stadium and have a great environment for what will be a new team for a new season. And,
And seeing two rivalry games like that, obviously in Brookings, you guys have a couple big-time rivalries. I guess, what makes rivalry games so great for the sport of college football?
I mean, it's a tough question. It's the same thing that makes every high school rivalry or college rivalry. There's passion behind it, and there's excitement behind it. There's a little bit of hatred behind all of them. That's the spirit of being competitive.
And then, just a little bit about yourself off the field. What are some of the things Jimmy Rogers enjoys doing when he's not on the field? And I know you haven't had much time lately doing that, but what are some of your hobbies, things you like to get up to in the off season?
Yeah, honestly, every time I can, I just try to spend time with my kids and my wife, and so doing things with them. As far as if I get an opportunity to go out and hang with my friends, is probably doing, fishing or something like that, golf a little bit, but not very good at golf, but I do just enjoy being around, friends and messing around. So, excited to get my family up here. They'll be up here come March, and that time can't probably come soon enough for me. I miss my kids and my wife, but I enjoy. I'm a family person, so I enjoy spending time with my family.
And then as you move forward now into the next couple weeks, what do the next couple weeks look like for you, your coaching staff, and your team?
Yeah, I think through February, we do what is called mental strength training sessions, where we come together, and our mental strength performance coach, Chris Kroc, leads them through a series of certain things that get the players to open up about where they're at mentally and how to overcome adversity, and technical things to get themselves out of tough situations, and an ability to think about things in a certain way rather than being negative. So we will do that. We'll do what we call DNA sessions, where we break the team up and they spend an ample amount of time with maybe a different position and different background of players in which they typically maybe wouldn't be used to. And so, yeah, we'll do that through the month of February, as well as just the natural training sessions that we'll have them going through, and then start to brief them in to what they need to know mentally for football as far as the scheme. So we start up in March, and we got this month to really take the next jump mentally, and I'm excited for it.
Now, those mental training sessions and the DNA sessions, how have you seen those help these guys in your past, and why is that so important to you?
Yeah, because I think the game is just as much mental as it is physical, and there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of athleticism out there, but if you're not right mentally, you'll struggle in the end, or you'll collapse during a tough moment or not respond the right way. I mean, I do think that is what culture looks like, right? It's not just when things are good, it's how you respond when things aren't going your way, and those are the things that are important to having success to win a championship.
And then just a couple more for you. As you look, yesterday Essa played in the Shrine Bowl. Kyle's going to play in the Senior Bowl tomorrow. When you have two examples of guys who are, chasing their dreams of going to the next level, that you can show these guys right now and be like, these are the type of players we have at Washington State. I guess just how much does that help as you're kind of building a culture? I know South Dakota State, obviously, there's few guys going to the NFL as well, but for your new program, seeing those guys ball out, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome, watching Essa take the jump that he did. I spoke a lot with him just because there was a chance of potentially getting him back, and this was something that he was really excited about, just the opportunity. He was waiting on this opportunity, and then for him to make the most of it is really cool. Had the opportunity to speak with his brother, who's also a former Coug, and I know he's really excited about this. But it's always good to have players take that jump to the next level. It's obviously the ultimate goal for so many players. And then every time that you can speak to those, as far as recruiting the next student athlete to come in and aspire to be like one of those guys and know that they can do it because the players prior to them have done it, I think that's extremely important, and really happy for those guys to live out what is, a dream coming here soon.
Mm-hmm. And my last one for you, you guys are going to go down to Flat Stick tonight and meet some more fans. What's kind of been the reception for you guys at some of these events that you've been to, and, some of the questions you may be getting from fans, and what that interaction has been like? Obviously, you see the passionate fan base that Washington State has. Yeah,
it's been great. I mean, I've kind of been everywhere, and getting to know people in one-on-one sessions as well, not just in the community. It's been great. The support has been unbelievable. They've been extremely welcoming, not just to me, but to the entire staff. And so to do it here in Spokane, I think is really awesome, and I'm looking forward to doing it tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Coach,
Appreciate
for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having
your time.
me.